Hey, what's up, guys? As of recording this, I just got out of the movie theater after watching the new horror film HOKUM. Starring Adam Scott, it's an interesting film that uses its horror in a way that is unlike other films out today. It's misleading, it's supernatural, and just a tad bit underwhelming in a few ways, which I'll get to later. But to get the first thing out of the way, is it worth your time? If you're looking for something to watch in theaters, 100% support cinema and watch this movie, but don't expect something profound or thought-provoking in a couple ways. I personally don't think that this film will be stuck in my mind anytime soon, but it was still an enjoyable watch. If you don't want to get spoiled, skip to this timestamp as I try to recap what I remember from the film. Now, the film starts off in, I feel like it's such a weird way. Tonally speaking, from what I've seen from the trailer, it is superbly different. We start off with Ohm's character writing the epilogue for his book and see it as if it were happening in real life. Like there's two people in a desert, like this conquistador and a child in a desert, and he's writing this epilogue as he's in his house. And as he's in his house, we get like a scary scene with his mom in the beginning. And because of that, he's reminded of going to Ireland to spread his parents' ashes, which at the moment for me didn't make sense, but it starts to make sense as you go further along. So he goes to the hotel and his parents, which his parents went to, and checks in and meets the locals, everybody around, the oddballs. We get introduced to a small cast of characters: the hotel manager, the front desk guy, the owner, the bartender, the bellhop, and my goat, Jerry. We see Ohm be basically an asshole to all of the characters, apart from Jerry and Fiona. And at this point, I was like, what the heck? Why is he so mean to everyone? And Fiona's the bartender, by the way. In this introductory section of the film, I think the important part to remember is that the owner permanently closed the honeymoon suite in the hotel because there's a Kaliek, or a witch, who brings naughty children into a tour of the underworld, and she shackles them. And the other important thing to remember is that Fiona nabbed his voice recorder. Stuff happens, and then Fiona goes in to check on him in his room and sees that he's attempted to cross the river of life, respawn on a different server. Yeah. But luckily he's saved by Fiona. Fiona cut him down. Afterwards, he comes back to the hotel to collect his things and asks about Fiona, since she saved him, to the front desk guy and hotel manager. He does a little investigation. The hotel manager said that she went missing ever since Halloween night, and it's probably because of that Jerry guy, because he killed his wife 10 years ago. Then Ohm goes looking for Jerry and finds him near his van, which is kind of funny, but I'll get to that later as well. Jerry explains that he thinks that Fiona is dead because he saw her ghost pointing at the service bell that is connected to the honeymoon suite, which I also forgot to mention that all the suites have service bells that alerts the front desk to the needs of anyone in those suites. And so Jerry's like, yo, I nabbed the key from the owner to the honeymoon suite by, breaking into his house. And they just brush that aside, and Jerry has his little moment where he tries to explain why he killed his wife, and it's sort of like a Silent Hill 2 situation, but not as evil, because I guess his wife's spirit forgave him for murdering her because she was critically ill. I don't know, there's some parts of this film where it's they don't explain it that much and they just brush it off, and they're like, okay, whatever, cool. So they go together to the honeymoon suite, but the hotel manager was somehow waiting for Jerry and knocks him out to take him to the police station, which is again, kind of crazy. How did he know that Jerry was gonna show up? That's crazy. But Ohm hides from the both of them during the scene and gets in the honeymoon suite by himself. It starts off normal. He searches the inside and finds nothing, but then the front desk guy shows up and tries to take him out of the room, and he's like, oh, what are you doing here? You're trespassing. And finds like a little door in the wall. He's like, oh, what's this? And then the front desk guy's like, no, you can't go in there. And he opens the door and he's like, oh, that's interesting. You have a dumbwaiter in here? And the front desk guy is like, no, don't push the button. And he pushes the button. And so the dumbwaiter goes up and then boom, Fiona's body is there. And then they both look at each other and they're like, what? And then we get like this flashback scene explaining why she died. But to keep a long story short, front desk guy drugged her and put her down the dumbwaiter with no way to get back up. So she dead. With this revelation, front desk guy traps Ohm in the room because he can't have witnesses. So Ohm tries to find a way out, but spooky stuff happens. And eventually he can't take it anymore, so he tries to go down the dumbwaiter. But it's only one way. So he sets this clock thing with the little hammer thing, which, the little, like, I don't know if it's like a hammer thing or like a polo stick, but basically the little thing hits the button for him, like, every hour. Which, low-key, this little clock thing is the biggest troll, but also awesome as well. He goes down, finds the witch, obviously, the witch is living in the basement, and basically runs back up into his room. The witch chases him up, which is a pretty cool scene. She like crawls vertically up the dumbwaiter shaft, and because Fiona actually showed him a book about Irish folklore and about how a circle of chalk around you will protect you from witches, he does that around the bed of the honeymoon suite, and he sleeps in there. And then the witch is like, okay, I guess I'm not getting you, which I guess it works. And while he falls asleep, we figure out why he's suicidal. It turns out, when he was 10, he killed his mom because he was playing with his dad's gun. And afterwards, his dad resents him for killing his mom and drunk himself to death. And eventually, he is awakened by sunlight. He wakes up in the room and he's like, oh shoot, I'm still alive. Jerry, who got kidnapped by the front desk manager, actually broke free and jumped out of the car that the front desk manager was taking him into the road, basically getting like road rash, like breaking bones and stuff, just to hobble back miles from that location to the hotel to save Ohm, which, bro, you have to give him some massive credit for that. Like, that's crazy. And the front desk guy comes back too for some reason, because he's like a paranoid guy, like nervous type of person. And there's a sequence that basically edges you, making you wonder if Jerry will notice Ohm in the room. And eventually he does and goes up to save Ohm. He breaks him out, but then from behind, the front desk guy shoots Jerry in the head with the crossbow. Rest in peace, my goat. Oh no. But the front desk guy sets the place on fire after Jerry found out. But since Jerry had the key to the honeymoon suite, he's trapped, and so he needs to go back and find the key on Jerry's body. Ohm takes the key, and we have a little cat and mouse moment in the film where Ohm is getting chased by the front desk guy, and Ohm eventually goes down the dumbwaiter, and the evil dude follows him, and they both get chained up by the witch. Ohm gets this little moment with his mom's spirit, and basically she forgives him for killing her, and the spirit points to the little razor tool that Fiona used to cut him down from, hanging out. And he uses it to cut the chains off of him, put on by the witch, which is like crazy. That's a strong ass blade. Like, that's crazy. He gets the suite key from the basement and then leaves. And that's pretty much the whole story, minus a few details, because if you want the whole thing, just watch the movie. Now, what do I think about the movie? I think that although it has good and interesting twists / aspects to it, I would classify this as a scary mystery movie more than anything. The most intriguing parts of this film is purely stemming from the mystery of how everyone got to the certain place that they're in, how some of those character arcs resolve, etc. In fact, some of the reveals in this movie really caught me off guard, and I thought that was a great aspect of this film. Another good that I see is the color of the film. It's well utilized at certain points, and when color is needed, the color pops, and when the color needs to be more dreary, it's super dreary. It's great. The horror in this film isn't exactly intense either. If you are squeamish to gore, you don't have to worry at all, I think. Like, sure, there's moments that'll shock you, but you don't see blood splatters. You don't see, like, the inside of somebody's head. So, relatively speaking, not too bad. The scares also deliver. Even though they get into, like, a similar pattern, it gets a little repetitive, but it works. It might be uninspiring, but it works. Now, what are the bad aspects of this film? Now, although the writing is sometimes clunky, and although I know that there are good actors in this film, I don't think they were given enough to work with, especially Adam Scott's character. Like, the background behind him was so intriguing that it kind of pains me that he didn't have his moment to show his acting chops, because the pieces were there. His character's redemption just doesn't feel earned, in my opinion. I also don't like how they throw in the possibility that this is all through the lens of an unreliable narrator. It undermines the film and basically chalks Ohm's experiences to him getting drugged, which is like, okay, well, that just means like the movie doesn't happen, you know? Now, the thing I don't like the most about this movie is their marketing. They literally do not show the rabbit dude for 90% of the movie, and bro is not even it's not even essential part of the film. Spoilers, but if you haven't watched the film, don't worry, you won't understand this. But what kind of TV shows was bro watching as a kid? I mean, sure, you can make a case saying that this was some manifestation of his trauma, but the marketing really made it seem like this rabbit monster thing was the big bad of the film. I was ready for Ohm to get hunted by this thing, but no, it's like a small part of the film. And that's the part that I think generally everybody thinks is the most intriguing part of the trailer, which pains me because it's literally just like 10% of the movie. Not a big deal at all. Some of the logic in the film is, I mean, I mentioned it in the spoiler section of the film, but some of the logic behind certain actions, or, you know, how did he find this person, or how did he know this person was there, it just doesn't click together as well as I would have hoped. You know, you don't want your audience to come out of the theater and being like, how did that happen, you know? But yeah, those are my bad thoughts about the film. But yeah, overall, I still like the film. I still enjoyed the film. I just don't think it was anything pretentious or profound. Which, you know, if you just want to watch a fun horror movie, I'll totally watch this film. But yeah, if you watched it as well, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And as always, like and subscribe if you want to. Bye-bye.